results for you that evening, your meeting for your approval. Upon your approval that evening of the bid, we'll prepare everything then for closing the delivery of the funds to the city on or around October 8th. So at that point, you'll have money in the bank to begin paying the costs of making the improvements. So with that, I'm glad to answer any questions, but again, the resolution before you this evening just allows that process.
I think, the interest rates are great. You don't see any problem with investors. People want to sign.
No, it makes a really strong demand. I mentioned the number of bidders. Normally I would tell you that if this were a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, maybe we're 3 to 6 bids. I would consider to be good. There have been some that have we've received 5, 6, 9 bids, which is pretty
good. Okay, any questions?
I would move to approve the resolution 2020-2102.
A motion from Keaton.
Second.
Second from Christie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you. See you, everyone.
Appreciate it.
See you in a month.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Stay crossed.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So there's farther to go than just upstairs.
Thank you, guys.
Resolution 2020-2103, offering bonds for sale.
I move to approve resolution 2020-2103.
A motion from Christie, a second from Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Certificate deeming preliminary official statement final.
Is that part of the second resolution?
It is actually part of the second resolution, and what that just for some color on that, that's actually the official statement is a document that's actually distributed to investors, and it contains information, audited financials, information about the city, information about the bonds, and that's what investors use then to make an investment decision, make them bidding on districts or on the city's bond issue. It's like a prospectus.
I would move to authorize the mayor to sign a certificate of deeming preliminary official statement final.
A motion from Keaton,
Second.
second from Chuck. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Managers report.
Got a few things to share with you this evening. First, I want you to mark your calendars for October 21st at 4 o'clock p.m. We've scheduled a tour of the wastewater treatment plant and animal shelter for that evening. I think Rush was one that kind of requested to start a tour of the wastewater treatment plant. We have the animal shelter. They've done some recent renovations. So we'll start that at 4 o'clock p.m. That should allow enough time for the tour to ask a few questions and travel back here for the 5:30 regular official meeting on the same day.
Already in this.
All right. Then on August 26th, which is next Wednesday, the League of Kansas Municipalities is going to testify at the in-person hearing on the Kansas Emergency Management Act, and they asked for some testimony from the cities, basically wanting to know how it was the cities working with counties, if the relationship was good, if cities needed to have more involvement in the response and recovery due to the pandemic, and then just any other things that they'd like to see changed to the Emergency Management Act. We did provide some written testimony back to them. They basically said that we've got a portion already to have a strong working relationship with our county and other entities, and so it seemed to go pretty well. Noted that we had a brand new emergency manager 3 weeks in, but he had to step up and deal with the pandemic, and so that created some challenges. But again, the strong working relationship allowed others to help him along, which is really, really good. Also stated that because the county health officer and county emergency preparedness director were employees of the county in this particular situation, depending on this disaster, it didn't make sense for the city to have any heavier involvement. But in future disasters, it would really depend on what the disaster was, where the expertise should go as far as who should take the lead. That makes a lot more sense to us. We did make some comments on the recovery piece of it. If there's recovery funds offered available, it would be really helpful to have the rules of the game established before the information is shared out and information is requested back. So for example, There were times as we moved through this where we were just about ready to say, okay, here's our final submittal on things, or to request information from people requesting. And then the rules would change and we'd have to revise and resubmit. So we did respectfully request that if they needed a few more days to iron out the rules to do that before they released information, that would be helpful. So that's the testimony information we provided to the league. Again, they'll be testifying next week on that hearing. We also had a meeting of the 150th Celebration Committee Monday evening, and that committee is going strong. Work is continuing. We finalized some plans on some events, a tentative calendar. We talked about some merchandise that we'll have for sale as a fundraising effort to help pay for some of those events. Things were scaled back slightly from what we had originally planned, and most events are going to call them COVID precaution friendly. So if we need to react and we're still under something of a public health emergency at that point in time, hopefully we're not by next year. But if we are, we can make accommodations for most of the events. So we'll release information as plans get solidified and finalized and make the announcements at that time. And that's all I have to share. If you have any questions for me. Thank you.
Thanks. Staff reports? Chief?
Got a brag?
What?
Do you have any information to share?
Am I supposed to?
And if you guys want to comment on the Battle of the Badges
Oh,
team.
so you don't have anything.
Oh!
He was like, what happened?
So you don't have anything to say.
It's a good game.
Don't you want to tell us something? It was a good game.
A little retaliation. Let's pick a real sport.
Any other staff reports? Okay. Keaton?
I don't have anything this evening.
Chuck?
I'm glad that we're able to move forward with the wastewater treatment project. I think it'll put us in a good position moving forward. It's exciting, refreshing to hear that we're going to be a strong financial position to be able to do that, and also be part of a governing body that holds by their word by taking money off. We said we would. Yeah. Now we're putting some back on, but it's very different. So excited for it.
We had a discussion with some people from Cloud Corp the other day. Chuck and I were there, and an interesting topic brought up was, when you look at our sales tax report or our tax report, the funds that came in, and when you look at them, that's compared to what maybe we were expecting and what's happened in other places, we were very fortunate. And I think that, and we talked about a lot of people weren't traveling, they're staying here, shopping locally. And so it kind of adds to the shopping locally thing, what it really can do if people do more of it. And it helped us out in a bad time, and it can just be that much more in the future. So I thought it was an interesting point to bring up. And the other thing is, I think we need to talk of the census as much as we can while we have a short period of time to do it. And we'll talk about it because it's the COVID affected it, and it's the participation, and we just got to milk that for as much as we can. We got to get up over that 5,000 barrier. So anyway, that's it for me.
I had a question about the use of the swimming pool this summer. Do we have any numbers yet?
Not sure.
Obviously, the numbers were lower because we were open less days, but I did a figure. I was going to share that as soon as I got it finalized, but we are up daily over the last several years.
Good.
Probably by 30 or more. I think it was really good.
I heard nothing but positive things.
Yeah, that's what I heard
Everyone
too.
I talked to.
I'm glad that we decided to open it. And even though it was kind of a rocky start and a rocky middle, it was definitely worthwhile. I'm glad the kids were able to use them.
And the concessions seem to be really successful.
Good deal.
We contributed to that.
Oh, good.
I was not sponsored by that outing, but go to the pool without getting a pretzel. And this.
Okay, have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Chuck,
Second.
second from Keaton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.